الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيد الأنبياء والمرسلين اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا بما تعلمنا وزدنا بفضلك علما وتعليما إنك على كل شيء قدير. So we have been reviewing, we've been going back from Unit 19 and going back, and we've been reviewing various different topics. So I'd like to look at perhaps 3 topics just to review. And then we can keep going back with our vocab, inshallah ta'ala. Okay? So let's try and review. When a word is genitive. What are the main signs for it? Genitive. And when is a word accusative? And what are the main signs for it? So who can remind me? When would you have a fatha on a word? What makes it have a fatha? Object. So it's going to be the object. I'll put signs here. Signs. And signs. Okay? And then I have reasons. Why is a word? Why does it have a fatha? So number 1 is the object. Okay, object of a verb. Number 2, it's an adverb. Right, adverb. Right? So when I say thank you very much, shukran kathiran. Kathiran, why kathiran? Because it's very much. Much is not, in English, much sounds like a lot. There's no difference. The word, the ending has no difference. It's a kind of a dead word. Whereas in Arabic, I'm going to take the word a lot and I'm going to change it. And it's going to suddenly change from a lot to much. Right? In English, a word will change in terms of the word itself. So quick and quickly, they're not the same word. So this word is used for this word is used for that. In Arabic, it's not like that. I'm going to use quick and then make it accusative to make it an object, right? So an adverb, and that could be an adverb of place or time, or answers the question how. Usually when you say adverb, you're talking about how. When he came, describe him coming. He came quickly. He came suddenly. Right? That's an adverb. But I say, when did he come? I say, when did Jack leave school? Jack left school at 5 o'clock. At 5 o'clock is called an adverb of time. In English, you say at. In Arabic, you take away that word at. You get 5 o'clock, and you change it to as-sa'ata al-khamisata. So that means at that time. Okay, in English, I'm going to use words like today. In English, you're going to say the day. In Arabic, you're going to say the day and put a fatha. Al-yawmu becomes al-yawma. That means today. So I'm going to express the idea that this thing is happening at that time by making it have a fatha. Or a place, for example, ana amamaka. I am in front of you. Anta amami. You're in front of me. Khalfaka. Tahta. Fawqa. These are all adjectives because they all have fathas. Okay, so that adverb is going to be a place, time, and a how, explaining how. Okay. Okay, so object, and then after inna, if you remember, right? After inna allaha, not inna allahu, inna allaha, right? Ashhadu, similarly, right? After inna and words like inna, like we had anna. Right, lakinna, right? Wa ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan, not Muhammadun, Muhammadan after anna. Okay, so that is the reasons why we have a fatha. Now, what are the signs? We said there has a fatha with a singular, so I get the word Allah. Ittaqullah, fear Allah, right? A'budullah, I worship Allah. Okay. That's with the singular. If it was dual, if I say, for example, Rabbul, no, that's not a good example. Can't think of an example in the Quran, but anyway, if I said Ra'aytu al-babaini, I saw the two doors. Babaini, I saw the two doors. It's going to have a ya, right? It's going to change from babani. Hadani babani. These two things in front of me are doors. Ra'aytu al-babaini, I saw the two doors. Changes from ani to aini. We don't see it that much because the jewel isn't used that much, right? But that's what's happening, okay? And then we have innal muslimina or muslimuna? Innal muslimina. So we're going to say al-muslimina, muslimina. Okay, muslimina. So similarly, a ya is going to be used. It's going to change it from una to ina. Right? Al-Muslimuna. Ha'ula'i al-Muslimuna. These are the Muslims. Ra'aytu al-Muslimina. I saw the Muslims. Uhibbu al-Muslimina. I love the Muslims. Right? Ja'u Muslimina. They came submitting. Adverb. Ja'u Shakirina. They came showing appreciation. Ja'u Ridaban. They came angry. They were angry when they came. What state were they in? How did they come? What state were they in when they came? Ridaban. They were very angry. Right? Okay, and there's just a nice line about Ridab. Try and remember the whole line. Very, very important thing is only care about one thing, which is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's what you're interested in. Anything else that comes into your life, it's just making things crazy. So there's this poet, he said, he's talking to a ruler because he wants to get paisa, right? But his lines of poetry apply to us and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So he said, you know, a lot of the times people like the ruler doesn't trust people because like you're trying to get this, trying to that. So he's trying to show I'm like all I care is you like me. I don't want money from you. I'm not trying to do anything. I'm your genuine friend. So he said, what does he say? He says, ليتك تحلو والحياة مريرة وليتك he said, if only you were sweet and the whole of life was like bitter. I'm not looking for anything else. ليتك تحلو والحياة مريرة وليتك ترضى والأنام غضاب. He says, if only you were happy and everybody else was angry with me. Like that's all I want. I just want you to be happy with me, and I wish the whole world hated me. That's how much I care about them. Like I don't care about it. In صح منك الود فالكل هين. It says, if you love me, then nothing else matters. وكل ما فوق التراب تراب. It says every single thing on the face of the turab, of the earth, is just earth. I don't care about it. I don't care about a single thing. Right? So that's a good thing. That's our mentality. If Allah is happy with me, it's fine. I really don't care. And in fact, I hope they hate me. Obviously, we don't hope people hate you. But there's a thing is like, I wish they liked me. Why do you wish they liked you? Do you worship them? No. You worship Allah through them. They're just tools. They're just the Kaaba, just the water, just the this, just the that. You don't care if you make wudu or tayammum because it's whatever Allah loves. There's a time for this and a time for that. I just want Allah to be happy with me. Right? I wish you were sweet and everything was bitter. Right? As opposed to when it's 50-50. Right? I love Allah and, right? Then it's like, oh yeah, that's great. But that's not Tawheed. Tawheed is, Ya Allah, all I want is you. Like saying Ibrahim, you finally have a son, kill him as well. Well, I'll do it. Right? Leave your family, leave everything. Right? But it's pure Tawheed, not in terms of his aqidah, of course, but in terms of his one thing in life. Allah, do you accept me? That's all. Right? Okay. Sidetracked. And then we have what? So Allah, babaini, and then feminine plural, we've got ati, right? Which is also a kasra. So I say ra'aytul muslimati, muslimati, right? Al muslimati. So it could be, if it's indefinite, it would be muslimatin or mu'minatin. Mu'minatin, right? خلق السماوات والأرض. Notice that? He created the heavens, muslimati, samawati, wal-arda. Because that's singular, it has a fatha in the accusative. This is feminine plural, so has a kasra in the accusative. They're both accusative, they're both objects, but they express it in different ways. Okay? Mu'minat. Okay. So that's basically, if we know that, that's the most complex, that's as far as it gets. That's about as complex as it gets. Right? That's a lie. In reality, it's much more complex than that. But practically speaking, this is what we're going to see on a daily basis. Like if you can yeah, I can see this. I've got in my head, I have these signs, and I have is an object, is an adverb, is after inna. That's basically all you need. You'll survive. Right? Should I get in the picture as well? Okay. Good. Okay, so now genitive. So the signs, you have a kasra. We also have, similarly, we have aini ending, same kind of thing. Aini ending. We have the ina ending. And the kasra as well. So it has basically the sign, these signs here for the dual and the plural are the same for the genitive, right? So we said kasra, right? That was a kasra. We said this aini ending, ina ending, right? Muslimina, right? And then for the genitive, we have two reasons. Basically, it had genitive, preposition, right? Bismi, right? Bismi, bismillahi. So preposition, right? Sorry, I'm not underline it. Preposition. Yeah. Preposition, that's one. And then, what's the other thing? Rasulullahi. So think Bismillahi. In the name of Allah. So there's a kasra on Bismi because of the ba. And there's a kasra on Allahi because it's of. Right? Whenever we have that hidden of, we call that idafa. Al-idafa. Right? Al-idafa. Right? That is that hidden of. Rasulullahi. Kitabullahi. Right? Bismillahi. So Bismi, kasra. The ba caused the kasra. Bismi Allahi. Why Allahi? Because it's the name of Allah. Okay? Fariduddini. My name is Fariduddini. That's my name, right? Shahidullahi. Right? So whenever you have that hidden of, the word is going to be genitive. Okay? That's it. Okay. That's it. Okay, guys. So any questions? Anything else that we want to review? So we just looked at unit 3, I think. We just looked at that, basically reviewed. That was a big chunk, unit 3. And then we had seen that throughout. And this is also then unit 10 and 9, I believe. We just basically looked at that now. Okay? So we want to just flick through any of these. Any questions? And I'm going to keep going with our vocab, inshallah. Okay. Should we start? Let's start going through our vocab then. So maybe let's look at unit 2. Any keywords in unit 2 that come up? So there's one or two words that you're not going to see many times. Khawiya, for example, that's not a word. You're going to ask an Arab, what does khawiya mean? Like khawiya? Don't know. It doesn't come up very much. It means like empty, right? It's not a word. But here, what does here mean? It or? She, right? It means she or it, okay? And it can also mean they. When can here mean they? When you're referring to a group of non-thinking things. So, for example, the tables. So I say here, for example, abwabun. They are doors. What are they? They are doors. So why didn't you say hum? Oh, hum is used for like people. Okay, so when you're talking about a group of its, you use here. But a group of non-human plural, right? Okay, and this is a very interesting thing in the beginning of Baqarah. وَعَلَّمَ آدَمَ الْأَسْمَاءَ كُلَّهَا. So كُلَّهَا, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala taught Sayyidina Adam the names, all of them. He uses ha, which is the kind of the attached version of here. What is it? ثُمَّ عَرَضَهُمْ عَلَى الْمَلَائِكَةِ. عَرَضَهُمْ. Why does it say hum? Right? فَقَالَ أَنْبِئُونِي بِهَؤُلَاءِ. Tell me about these people. So it's almost like Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala showed the names of all things to the angels, which were people, and said, what are these people? Right? And so it does happen sometimes in Arabic, it's possible, but some ulama, they say, you know what actually happened here is that every single category in our brain, every single category, the category of book, the category of table, the category of carpet, the category of window, these are actual things. They have a living reality somewhere else. There is like a living form. And what we see is kind of like a dead version of it. But that's like the original archetype. And so there's something out there that say Adam had this ability to see things and put them in categories, something that Bani Adam has, that we categorize things. And we can actually, and then based on that, we can do logic. We can say, okay, I don't just see object, I see door. I say every door leads to something. Therefore, that door must lead to something. I come to conclusions like that. And that's all based on the ability to categorize. That's what AI is doing, right? We're training AI to like, can you categorize something? And it sometimes doesn't do it. Like it sees something and it doesn't pick it up. That's not a curb, it's a child's foot, right? And it miscategorizes things. I'm sure there's a whole complex thing, right? That what a kid is doing is they're asking questions day in, day out, why? They're doing lots of very, very complex AI things on a daily basis. And they can make this very abstract thing and cut things and say, that's a car, it's moving, that's the ground, it's not moving, right? And what can I expect, what can I not expect, etc. But a tafsir of that is that these things are actually almost human. Like the categories on our mind are actually have a fuller living being in some other kind of world. Allahu A'lam. Okay, but otherwise, here means it, she, or they, or when referring to non-human things. Okay, هذه. This. So everything ha is always close. هؤلاء, these people. هذا, this. هذه, this. But هذه is feminine, and هذا is masculine. Okay? Okay? Any other keywords? Let's have a look. Any other keywords we have here?
Naha, when it comes in Naha, it's
It's
still
the attached version of here. Yeah. So that if I said innaha, that means indeed she, indeed it, or indeed they. Okay.
So these examples of it is a tree, it is a cow, it is a word.
Exactly. It's yeah. So, but the Arab doesn't think about it and she. So in our minds, we think about, is it human or not human, right? And even, for example, you might find different words for pets. Do you refer to a pet as he or it? Or even a baby? Some people might look at a baby as a thing because it's not really there. it, right? So, but in Arabic, they don't even have that. They're not even thinking. So when they talk to you, they're like, it's a variable that they don't even have in their mind. We have that variable. Is it a human or is it a thing? They think of it, is it masculine or feminine? They don't even think any difference. They just, is it masculine or feminine? That's the category they're trying to put it into, right? Okay, anything else here? حياك الحج. Tilka, right? Tilka. We've got ذلك and tilka. So there's no ha, so it's not close, it's far. So it's either it's that masculine or that feminine. ذلك or tilka. Okay, ذلك or tilka. That. Okay, keywords that we're going to use all the time, right? Okay, let's look at the next unit then, inshallah. Unit 3. Keywords that stick out that we need to know. We looked into already. Alimun, this comes all the time in the Quran. Adabun alimun. Right? Painful, alim. Right? Adab, right? You use that in the adab, use it, azab, right? It's a very common word, right? Ghafoor, what else? Rahim, easy, right? Nahar, layl and nahar. Yeah, layl and night and day, layl, right? These are words. Wal-layli idha saja, right?
Hamia is from
What's the word?
Narun Hamia.
Hamia. Hami means hot. Hami. Hamia. So in different Arab countries, they'll use different words for hot. Some countries say hami. They say hami. It means hot. Right? Hamia means hot. Hamia is feminine version of hami. A'adda. We use that. It comes a lot in the Quran. A'adda, to prepare. A'adda. Right? U'iddat lil kafirin. That has been prepared. A'adda. A'adda. What else do we have? Nafs. What does nafs means? Nafs. Self or soul or ego. Sometimes a negative sense. Right? Somebody's nafsani, like the person like very egotistic. They're like, what's the word? Narcissistic. They're like, oh, you know, like very self-centered nafsani, right? Nafs. Inna nafsa la'ammaratun bisu'. The soul is always telling you to do wrong things because it just wants. Right? The nafs wants certain things, whether it's halal, haram. It's not satanic. It just wants. It's like the baby. It's mine. That's my pizza. And then you take the pizza away from the baby. The baby's like crying because that's wrong. Because I didn't get something, it's wrong. Right? That's like the nafs. Right? I want to sleep. I want to eat. I want more money. I want more attention. Right? I want to be the famous person. Whatever it is, just the nafs. Right? So we use it in that negative sense. Sometimes you use it in the sense of the soul. Right? Sometimes it just means self, like nafsi, myself. Right? On Judgment Day, every single prophet, let alone every single person, will be saying nafsi, nafsi. Right? As much, you know, it's an amazing sign, right? Look, here's a mother, like if there were a nuclear bomb, a nuclear attack or something like that, what would the natural thing the mother thinks about is the kids. That's how she's built, right? The easiest way to get a woman to do something is threaten the children, right? She can become very violent, threaten the children, she become very violent, but she's like, I'll do anything to save the children, anything. But on, you know, Judgment Day, she won't be thinking like that. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said that day so bad that if she had a baby, she'd throw the baby on the floor. But the only person you have is Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He's your only person you have. He's the only person who's going to be saying, everybody is in paradise apart from you. He's like, yeah, Allah, he's not here. Where is he? Because everyone else, no one else is going to be thinking about it. Right? Inshallah, when they get to Jannah, they will. Some of the Jannah, like, hey, we remember. Right? Sheikh Farid, where is he? He used to teach us Arabic. Where is he? And they'll be like, yeah, Allah, please. I know he did certain things he shouldn't have done, but please, he taught us Arabic. Right? And you remember me, inshallah, right? When you're in Jannah. But before you're in Jannah, you're not going to be thinking about it. When everyone is standing there before judgment, you're not going to be thinking about anything other than yourself. Even the prophets themselves will almost be losing it, let alone the righteous, let alone the average Muslim, right? So we only have Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, right? Okay, so that's nafsi, nafsi, myself, myself. It doesn't mean my ego, just myself. Okay, ala, what does ala mean? Let's look at some of these prepositions. Ala. Assalamu alaikum. On or upon, right? On or upon, right? Mm-hmm. So, ala sirati mustaqim. Any other prepositions there? في ليلة مباركة. In, good. Mm-hmm. Ajr. Reward, right? So the Prophet, they said, the poor Sahaba said, Ya Rasulullah, ذهب أهل الدثور بالأجور. The people with money have taken away all the good deeds. They pray like we pray, they fast like we fast, but they give sadaqah and we don't have any money to give sadaqah. The Prophet said, I'll give you something more than that. He gave him the dhikr, La ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika la lahu mulkul hamdu wa ala kulli shay'in qadir. And other versions where he said, for example, every time you say subhanallah, it's like a sadaqah, and if you say alhamdulillah, etc. He mentioned the whole list, right? And then the Prophet then they said, Ya Rasulullah, they heard the hadith that you just said. And the Prophet said, that's the grace of Allah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives to people. But so ujur, ajr, ujur, reward. Ajir is somebody who you pay a wage to. You're ajir, right? Somebody who you're employing to work for you. We're talking about al-ajir al-khas wal-aam in fiqh. Somebody who is your employee and his liabilities towards the property that he's using versus somebody who's ajir al-aam, right? The person you're giving a wage to, but he works for different people. When he's using your property, he's on your property or using your computer or using the facility, how is his liability in regards to the property? That's ajir, somebody who pays. So ajr, reward. Okay, let's look at the next unit, unit 4. Keywords, just flick through. Where's a word that I'm not familiar with that looks strange? Al-fadl al-kabir. Al-fadl, what is that word? Fazl, use a fazl. Let's call it a name, right? Fazl al-Rahman or fazl something that used, right? Fadl. It is a grace, or it is a grace or a kindness. You say, min fadlik. I'm asking you out of your grace and kindness to do this for me. I'm not asking, right? You say, yeah, fadl, right? It can also mean extra, right? Extra. But here it just means, because it's not the basic thing, right? But of the grace of Allah, right? Other words, other alim, naba'un azim. What does azim mean? It means great, great. Azim, huge. And naba' al-azim, the great, huge thing, right? Allah's name is al-azim. Ad-dar al-akhirah. What does ad-dar mean? And, abode, right? Place. They say in Arabic, ad-dar thumma ad-jar. Ad-jar thumma ad-dar. Think about your neighbor first, and then think about the house. When I want to move somewhere, what's the environment? You go there because it's a good environment, and then you look about the house. You don't look about what the house looks like, and then think about the neighbors. I had one of my friends. He said, he's like, why do you live in San Ramon? It's like expensive there. Why do you live there? He said, that's the kids that I wanted my kids to hang out with. Those kids I want specifically when they wake up in the morning, when they come back from school, who they can play with. That's what I want to know. On a daily basis, what are my kids exposed to? These people. Don't care how much it costs. We'll go there. We have to rent. Sell the house, rent. I don't care. Like, I want to be around these kids because they go like this, right? Kids are outside right now. They haven't prayed Asr. How am I going to get them to pray Asr? Hang out with kids who pray Asr. Simple. Right? Okay. So ad-dar, think about a place. Think about that. Okay, sabil, what does sabil mean? path, right? Sabil, path, right? Lahwun. Good. Lahwun. It comes a lot in the Quran. Lahwun, which is messing around. So the Prophet ﷺ, he said, every single every single thing that the believer yalhu bihi, that just use it to play around, plays around with, is batil, is false. Apart from three things, he said. What is it? Shooting his bow, training his horse, and playing around with his family / wife. You can translate it in two ways. Ahl in Arabic means family, and also means wife. Right? So playing with your family. What are you doing? The other day, for example, missed Asr in the masjid. Didn't go to the masjid intentionally. All I'm doing is taking my kids on their bikes. And we're going to go. They're like, you want candy? Fine, let's go on a bike. We're going to go really, really, really far. And you spend time with daddy playing. Because then I say, hey, you got to pray. I have ammunition now. Because I've built a relationship with you. Right? We're buddies, right? We rode, we've had fun. We did this. You got to pray Asr, Habibi. Right? And they were like, well, you're telling me, but I never see you. Right? I never see you, as opposed to, right? And so, playing around with the family, shooting your bow, right? So that's so having that the populace of a country, they're all militarily trained, is something that's of use. And horse, same thing. Horse is the main thing. Right, Asad. When? No, you didn't. We played Dhuhr at home. No, Asr, guys. Okay. Okay, so Bismillah. What were we saying about? So they said those three things. That's lahu. It's lahu and it's batil. And then he says, because those three things, messing around with, spending time with your family, with your wife or your family, and those other things, these are فَإِنَّهُنَّ مِنَ الْحَقِّ, because that's of the truth. And everything else, and that's why in the Hanafi school it's makruh tahriman. You're sinful for doing anything that's pointless. So I'm going to sit here and go like this. Like, what was the point of that? Oh, I managed to do this. What was the point? So there's no benefit in it. It's makruh It's not just wasting your life, which is obviously very bad. It's actually sinful. You're actually sinful in the Hanafi school, right? And the Jumhur say, no, you're wasting your life. That's your own problem. But they say it's actually sinful. Right? You can't do that. Right? The mentality of just entertainment, like what are you doing? The iPhone is extremely un-Islamic. Like I'm just wasting time, right? I'm relaxing. Okay, I understand. I'm super stressed. I can't even open my mouth right now. I'm like super angry. I need to just walk. Okay, why are you walking? To calm down. Okay. Why are you doing this? To calm down. Okay. Why are you playing golf? I need me time in order to function. Okay, makes sense. But when it's no longer time to actually focus, it's actually un-Islamic, and then the Hanafi say it's actually sinful, right? Lahu. So lahu is a problem, right? It's an un-Islamic thing. It's entertaining, that's un-Islamic, right? You shouldn't be entertained, you should be doing something. What are you doing? Function, right? So someone should ask you, do you have time? You say, depends what you're asking me to do, not yes, because you can't have time, right? You cannot possibly have time. That's impossible. You say, right? So your wife says, hey, do you have time? And you're like, well, I'm saying yes, meaning I'm willing to sacrifice something else that's important if what you're going to ask me to do is more important. That's what it means. Your boss, as opposed to, yeah, I got time. You have time Saturday? Yeah. Because I'm doing nothing, unless you're intentionally doing nothing. You put in your schedule, this week is a no thing. I put nothing in my schedule because I just need to relax. Like I just need to have an empty schedule for a particular reason, fine. But when somebody say, hey, do you have time? That's impossible. How could you possibly have time? How could you possibly have done every single thing you need to do today? I don't believe it. Right? Okay, this one now. So lahu, distraction. Right? What else? Another word? Any word there? That's hasana. What does hasan mean? Good. Hasan is good. Hussein, the little good one. Hasan and Hussein, the little good one. Right? Hasana, good deeds. Right? Okay, let's go next. Mu'min, mu'minun, we know these things. Zalim, zalimun, kafir. Right? Muflih. right? You say, Hayya ala al-falah, come to success. Muflih, the person who does success, the successful people, right? Falah, right? Dal, what are daleen? The people who are lost, right? Daliltu, I got lost, right? Ad-dalla is a lost item, right? They say, al-hikmah dalat al-mu'min. The wisdom is the lost item of the believer. So you found a key that you lost 5 years ago and you find it at some random airport. That's mine. Pick it up. So when you find wisdom, some kafir says something, that's what they're saying is true and there's wisdom in it, right? That doesn't matter. It's your lost item, so you can pick it up, right? That's the phrase. Allah, al-hikmah dalat al-mu'min. Wherever you find it, you can pick it up. Correct? Definitely. Okay, any other words? Muttaqoon, muttaqeen. People of taqwa, right? It's not just fearing Allah, that's khawf, right? Khashya is dread of Allah. Like it actually causes you, it's like disturbing. Like you feel uncomfortable, right? A healthy uncomfortableness that makes you do things. That's khashya, like dread. But taqwa it is the fear of Allah that makes you do something, right? You protected yourself, right? So the person I was trying to protect myself from, right? Hey, Allah, when you say ittaqullah means protect yourself from Allah. Protect yourself from Allah's punishment. Allah said, I have a hellfire. It is extremely bad. Wake up and do something that saves you from that, right? Was it ittaqullaha walau bi shiqqi tamra, right? Fear Allah, meaning ward off Allah's punishment, even with half of a date. That doesn't say don't only give a dime. That means give every single thing you have, and even if you have one extra dime, give it, right? Use it every single moment you have, and if it means you only have 1 second left, then do it. That's it, right? All you have is 1 second left, right? That's life. Okay, Bismillah. Wa'alamu alima ya'lamu, to know, right? Wa'alamu, and realize, right? And know or realize, good. Al-asfal, what was the word? Raib, right? So you use raib means uncomfortable doubt, not just doubt. Shak is doubt, okay? But raib is uncomfortable doubt, right? Somebody comes along, for example, say that, no, it's not an example, but raib, like you call it raib al-manoon. This is a thing in the Jahiliyyah. When am I going to die? I don't know when I'm going to die. Life doesn't make sense. When am I going to die? So they're always talking about raib al-manoon, right? This like randomness of life, and like people just die and it doesn't make sense. I don't know when it's going to happen, right? That's called raib al-manoon, right? They don't know what it is. And so they have the word riba as well. Riba is uncomfortable doubts about your spouse. Your wife gets a message and smiles. You're like, what was it? She's like, oh, nothing. Okay. And then something else happens. And then she goes past somebody. She's in a store. There's a guy walks past. She responds, and then she walks off. She's like, oh, let's leave. And like, that was weird. But it wasn't. It's not just doubt. I'm uncomfortable. I don't know what's going on. That's called riba, right? So the Prophet said, ghayra, when you have jealousy for your wife, is of 2 levels. When there's a reason, there's a riba. Like that's not normal behavior. I don't feel comfortable, right? I don't feel comfortable at that. I have a reason for saying, no, we're not going to that place, or we're not having that person around our house. I don't know what's going on. That person isn't coming to our house again, right? You have something there, and it's like, that's not good, right? Something happened. I don't trust it. As opposed to, there's nothing going on. And you're like, no, don't talk to that person. Don't talk to this. Don't do this. Don't do this. Don't do this. No. There's nothing happening. You're just like paranoid, and it's not nice. And it's weird, and it's over-controlling, and it's a weakness in reality, right? Like we should have, every culture is different, of course. Some people are like, yeah, that's in my culture. My wife doesn't talk to a single man ever. If a man comes to the door, she will not go. That's your culture. I respect that. As opposed to when it's getting weird, you keep looking at her in a strange way, like, why are you doing this? Why are you doing this? Nothing happened. Leave her alone. And it's just paranoia. It's not good, right? It's not good. But there are certain times, like, as a man, should you do something? Say, oh yeah, your wife comes home. She really likes her new boss. Okay, it's nice. And then she's always talking about the new boss, and then she has to have lunch with the new boss. And you're like, yeah, that's fine. And then she has to go on a business trip with the new boss. It's like, that's not healthy, right? A normal Muslim person would be like, yes, that's interesting. When you hear this first word, like, interesting, right? Your ears are listening. Okay, you like the new boss. Okay, that's fine. You have to work with this person. But then business lunch, and then it's now hang on a minute, and then you just don't care. That's a problem with you as a man. Not this problem with her, but a problem with you as a man, right? And so that's healthy ghayra, like, you know, that. So that's called raib, is doubt, and riba, unhealthy doubt, or disturbing doubt about something. Okay, raib. So ذلك الكتاب لا ريب فيه. You read the Quran, there's nothing to worry about. You don't need to be like, I'm going to be let down. It's not going to be the right thing. No, this is deen. This is right. Don't worry about it. لا ريب فيه. So المؤمنون المؤمنات بعضهم. What does بعض mean? بعد means after. بعض means some. So بعد, after. بعض, some. Some of them. بعضهم. بعدهم, after them. Right? Different word. That's not a common word. So you can look at that. Dark al-asfal is the lowest pits of hell. Excuse me. Asfal is least. Asfal as-safilin. But the word dark, that's not a normal word to see. Dark. It's so yeah, note it, but
It's only once, and
it doesn't. It comes a few times in the Quran. It's not a common word to use. Yeah. So it's not. We made. وَجَعَلْنَا. We made. So we created or we made. Wa'ada, promise. Wa'ad, right? You use that word? Wa'ad? Yeah? Promise, right? Wa'ad. We have a wa'ad wal wa'id. Wa'id is a threat. Right? So will Allah keep his promise? If Allah promised you something, will you get it? Yes. It's impossible for Allah to break his promise. Could Allah break his threat? Yes. So you stole. And you're like, yeah, and if I had another chance, I'd do it again. And then you died. So there's no regret, no tawbah. Allah has threatened the person who sins and then dies without tawbah with a punishment. Will Allah necessarily punish every single thief who died without tawbah? No. But if you did a good deed, right? Correct. And did you die as a kafir? No. You're going to get that good deed. There's no way out. Allah's definitely going to fulfill his promise, and he may fulfill his threat. So be very careful. Be very careful. And you're playing Russian roulette with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Like, so I spoke about Russian roulette, right? Russian roulette, you know the game? Right? So that's not a game we should play with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You shouldn't play the game anyway. Don't, right? It's not a fun game when you play with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Russian roulette. Right? 1 second of hellfire, you're like, that was not worth it. Right? Wasn't worth it. Let alone when the doors close on you. And that's it. Right? That's something else. May Allah protect us all. Ya Rabb. Okay. Faiz. Fawz. Faiz. So fawz is success or safety, getting to safety. Faizun, the people who get to safety. Right? They've made it through the difficulty and got to the safe, promised place. Right? Not really, no. So victorious, like not. That's like ghalibun, like on the Hamra, there in the Spain. There's a big kind of castle called the Al Hamra. The Hamra says La ghaliba illallah. There's nobody the only person who wins the war is Allah. La ghaliba illallah. That's like a ghalib. That was a king, wasn't it? King of Persian, right? A Persian king or Indian king called Ghalib, right? That was his name, right? Maybe a poet, actually, I think his name was poet. Yeah, Ghalib, right? The one who's like that. You gave him like that's like Mr. Victorious, right? But Faiz is the person who gets through the difficulty and it's like we have to get to this mountain to safety. He made it. Yes, right? That's called the Faiz, right? So Allah subhanahu in Surah An-Naba, Allah subhanahu talks about hellfire and the kuffar. They're going to only be increased in the hellfire. Inna lil muttaqina mafaza. The people who have taqwa, who believe in Allah and ward off the hellfire by doing good deeds and avoiding the haram, they have a place of safety that everyone's trying to get to. Okay, that's called fawz, right? The ultimate, the getting through the difficulty. So fawz, that comes in faizun. Jannah, obviously. Ashab, what does ashab mean? It means companions. It also means just people of something. Ashab al-amwal, people who have money. Ashab al-fadl, people who are meritorious. Ashab al-sahib ilm, right? That's why we have the word sab, right? Gura sab, right? So it's sahib that became sab. So the person, nawab sab or something like that. The person who is representing the king, right? So you say sab, right? But it's sahib originally. Sahib, the person who has a particular thing, right? Sahib khuluq, somebody who has good character, right?
So the Persian word came before the.
No, so other round, yeah. There are certain words like jawrab. Jawrab is a sock. Okay, so it's very interesting in Farsi. They say jarab today, jarab, right? For sock. But it's a Persian word that became Arabic, then it became Persian. So the word is gurpa, the grave of the foot in Farsi. Until it came into Arabic and it became jawrab. So they didn't have socks in the desert. You don't need socks in the desert, right? Not useful. That's the civilization, with the contact between the desert and civilization, he put the word gurpa, which became jawrab. And then jawrab became jarab. So it's Persian that became Arabic, became Persian. But that's rare. There are certain words like that. Like they say, some scholars, they say sijil in Surah Al-Fil, right? Sijil is sanggil, which means stone. Khalid, can you help us out? Sanggil is mud, right? Gil is mud.
Gil is flower.
That's good. Isn't that gul? Gil. I think it's mud. I think.
Call it khak.
Khak. But there's another. I think it also means so sang is stone, right? I think gil is also mud, like a rock, like earth and all that. So you see lots of them. They were like that word. They call it mu'arrab. That word's not actually Arabic. Even a phrase. So what was it? The word. أحدهم لو يعمر ألف سنة. So they say in the verse, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about Bani Israel, the Jews, they say they wish they could live 1,000 years. So one of Ibn Abbas, I think it was one of the Sahaba, they said, oh yeah, like the Ajam, like the Persians say, you see it in Tafsir, they say, what's it called? Harsal. Is it? Mud, there we go. Yeah. Gul, but the gul is flower, not gil.
Gil, yeah.
I think gil. So sang gil. Okay. So anyway, so the point is that he's saying that phrase is referring to a Persian phrase, which may you live for 1,000 years, and they'll use Farsi in it, right? They'll say, oh, it means this. So if you imagine you're in the desert, you are mobile people. So you're talking to Assyrians who speak a different language. Assyrians are speaking a kind of Arabic language. You're talking to Jews, they're speaking Hebrew. You're speaking Arabic. You're hearing people speak Greek, speak Latin. So, for example, the word for Arabic, in Arabic, there's no word for money, basically. Dirham is Greek, drachm. So if you think about a word, like you don't have money in the desert. So you go to civilization and let's have dirham, drachm, and dinar is Latin. So the Latin word is the word we use, dinar, that's Latin. And drachm is dirham, right? So there are lots of words like that, but that word it's not like that. Allah. Some say as well, firdaus. It's paradise. It's a Persian thing, but it's an old Indo-European word. It's not an Arabic word to begin with. Allahu yeah, firdaus, yeah. Jannat firdaus, yeah. Allahu alam. Nahnu, what does nahnu mean? We, right? Ansar, helpers of Allah, right? So does Allah need your help? No, you need Allah's help. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I just said, look, can you pick that up for me? Sure. Allah put it on the floor. He doesn't need you to pick it up. Allah just wants you to know if you're going to pick it up or not, right? Like, what's it called again? The woman who's trying to get, so she's like, hey, ask her husband, can you open this jar for me? She can do it herself, but she wants her husband to do it. Right? She's creating a situation. Right? So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, same thing. Allah's just creating a situation for you. Oh, here's a child, he just fell over. What are you going to do about it? That's all. Allah doesn't need us to save the world. Right? Allah's not going to be angry with us because you destroyed the ozone layer. He destroyed it. He's going to be angry with us because he put it in a situation and you didn't look after it. He doesn't need us to look after the world. Right? He's going to destroy the world anyway. Not a problem. But I put the situation. So here is a person who's being wronged. Are you going to look after them? No, you're too scared. Okay, failed. Allah just put this as it's just a simulation. The dunya is a simulation. It's not a real thing. Right? Okay, so Ansarullah, qawmun, what does qawm mean? People, and it's from the word qama, to stand up. So if you look at the word people in Arabic, you say rijal, which is from rijal. Get up and do something. That's rijal, the people who get up and do something. There's a problem, no electricity. Who's going to get up and solve the problem? The men. There's no food. There's an issue. So this is very important. We live in a world where, as when a taxi driver in Jordan told me, he says, al-yawm, he says what? And that was called al-rijal naima wal-nisa gaima. He said, he's speaking in their colloquial Arabic. He said, today, men are sleeping and women are standing. They're not doing anything, right? So when you go home, there's a problem. You can't do everything, but you're the manager. Problem. Kids watching TV all the time. Problem. Toothache. Problem. Kids aren't praying. Problem. Kids have bad akhlaq. It's your problem. It's on your shoulders. You have to manage it. I have to work. I have to do this. You can't say it's not my issue. Or what homework do they have today? I don't know. And you need to know what's going on. This is the issues, but she's managing it like this. You are the manager. You can't say, I don't know and I don't care. It's not my issue. I've done my work. I'm going to go and do my thing. That's the man is that you get up and do something. You are in charge. You can ask her to do things, but you're in charge. There's a big difference, as opposed to, and you're taking that weight off her shoulders. I know what's going on. Not like I don't even know what's going on, right? If she's paying for certain things, that's fine, as long as you're managing it. And at the end of the day, it's on your shoulders, as opposed to she doesn't know how we're going to pay for this, and then she has to work it all out. That's not what the man does, right? You're in charge, and I'm giving the structure and I'm giving the priorities, right? Just like my brother's an ER doctor, right? He says sometimes there's 3 ambulances outside of the hospital. The ambulance the person haven't even been able to drop off yet. The person is dying in the ambulance. So his job is, you do this, you do this, you do this, don't do this, stop doing this, do this. He's not expected to solve the world, save everybody, but he's expected to prioritize and give structure, right? That's rijal. Qawm means people/men, right? And Surah Al-Hujurat, a qawm should not laugh at another qawm, and some women shouldn't laugh at other women. So qawm means men, because you're the people who stand up. When the wolves are attacking, who's going to stand up and do something, right? And so when you have, for example, unfortunately, it's often the case like the masjid is put together by women, because they actually got up and said, there's a problem, we need to do something. And the men are just thinking about just the job. It's like, yes, that's true, but you have all these problems, and you need to be the person who is thinking, what is the problem? I cannot meet this weekend, I can't do it, but next week we're going to meet, we're going to do A, B, and C. And that's not a priority, this is a priority, right? The person who's doing all of these things, inshallah. Does that, inshallah, make sense, inshallah? So, qawm, qama yaqumu. So if you don't get up and do something, that's not, right? Who's the problem solver? There's another word there. Ummahat, and ummahat. Good, mother and ummahat, mothers. Okay, and and ummahat. And then there was another word, na'im. What does na'im mean? Comes a lot in the Quran, na'im. Good, ni'mah, wonderful. Ni'mah, a blessing. Na'im, bliss. Right, Jannat na'im, gardens of pure bliss itself. Right, bliss itself. Okay. Okay, Jannat, gardens, what anything other words? Yameen and Shimal, right and left, right? Ashab Shimal. So is it haram to write with your left hand? If you're left-handed? No, it's not. Right? There are certain things that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told us, the Prophet told us to do with our right. So the Prophet used to use his right hand for certain things, his left hand for what? For dirty things, like cleaning your private parts, like cleaning your nose, right? Those kind of things. Otherwise, you can left-handed. You can use your left hand. It's not haram to use your left hand, right? And so we see kind of extreme things in Latin. It's sinister and dextra. Sinister, like evil. It's called evil, right? Your left hand is not evil, and a pig isn't evil. It's just that Allah wants you to use it for something else. Allah wants you to use a pig or nothing. That's what Allah wants you to use a pig for. Like He doesn't want you to use it. A pig is not good or bad, right? It's not like you can't eat a pig because it's a bad animal, right? There's no such thing as a bad animal. That doesn't exist, right? Because it's not, right? So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants you to worship Him by using your left hand for something, and worship by using your right hand for something. Okay, Bismillah. And so what do we mention about somebody who eats with their left hand? What do we mention? The plane. So I'm sitting. Is it? So I'm gonna drink standing up. Difference of agreement. Is it makruh? Is it not makruh? It's okay. It's not makruh. Not a big deal. It's not makruh. But they say, oh, but you didn't do an adab. Did you need to stand up? Were you in a rush? No, just had two options, and I just took the lesser of the two options. Okay, you've now signed a relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Next kind of relationship. I'll do something that's makruh. I'll eat with my left hand. It's makruh. It's not haram. It's not haram, but so I'm drinking, and I know your wife's like, it's sunnah today. Like, yeah, I know. It's not haram though, right? Sunnah prayers, it's not wajib. I don't have to do it. So it wasn't that my hand was broken or anything. It's just, I just couldn't be bothered. So I'm now doing the makruh, and I'm happy with it. Like, oh Allah, you dislike it, but I'm okay doing something you dislike. That's a relationship. You've now defined a relationship. So now you miss the adab, and then you go to miss the sunnah. You miss the sunnah. Now what's next target? The prayer. Oh, I missed asr. How'd that happen? That's crazy. I remember last time I missed a prayer like that. That's strange. And then this happened and that happened. Did I just cuss? Did I just say that? Whoops! I just said something I shouldn't have said. I just made ghibah. What's happening to me? What's happening to my relationship? Right? It's a relationship. That's what we're talking about with Allah. Relationship. And then the next thing is like, yeah, not all Muslims are that good, and not all kuffar are that bad. Can you see? And I start doubting things, and it's a problem. And it's getting harder and harder to do what is right, and harder and more confusing. And then something happens, and you just leave the deen. You die like that. That's how it happens. So taqwa means you start fearing Allah up here, not down there. You go into the office, and you're like, where's the manager? Don't know. That's not a good sign for your salary. That doesn't mean you're not going to get paid. But when things in the office are not looking right, this is a startup, and the manager's not there, and he's like, oh, this, just do this, and then, oh, what's the work today? Just do this. That's not a good sign that you're going to get paid as a startup. It's like, oh, we had to lay people off. You could see that happening because things were off from the management, right? Same thing. It's not haram, but all of these things lead up to something. Right? That's where, so we have taqwa is, you start worrying there, not when it's too late. Right? May Allah protect us. Okay, next thing. Okay, pronouns. These are attached pronouns. So let's just look at these attached pronouns. So innaka is like saying inna anta. Right? Innaka is like saying inna anta. Right? What else? Let's see some attached pronouns here. Innaka, lahu, lahum. That's like for huwa, lahu, lahum. Hum and hum are the same. It's just attached. That's all. Right? Hum and hum. Kum is totally different to antum, but it's the same word. So it looks very different as the same word. Let's quickly just identify some attached pronouns here. So is it Rabbiha, her Lord? Yeah. Iyaka, you alone. Or Buki, your Lord, speaking to a female, right? Tahtaki, right? Beneath you, speaking to a female. So because in Islam puts no value on women, there is nothing in the Quran that talks about women. Is that true? You have a whole surah for crying out loud. Like, read the Bible. How much does the Bible say about Mary? There's more in the Quran than in Islam than in the Bible, right? We have like, so many chapters of the Quran, so Mujadala. There's a woman saying, hey, my husband said something really rude to me. And like, basically, like, he says like, his relationship with me is now basically like his mother. And he says, I'm as haram to him in the bedroom as if I was his mother. Is that okay? Yeah, just ignore her. No, don't ignore her. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala heard what she said and hears her complaint and says that's a crime. You either divorce her or straighten things out. And if you're going to straighten things out, you've got to free a slave. And if you can't do that, you have to fast 2 consecutive months. And if you can't do that, you feed 60 people. Well, because women don't count. It's not that women don't count, it's because we don't read the Quran. We don't read the Quran. Just, Tarawih, that was nice. That's all we want, right? In our community, he's a Hafid. Does he understand what it says? Does he understand what that means? That women's emotions count. Here's a woman giving birth. Why are you talking about a woman giving birth? That's like weird. That's what it says in the Quran, Surah Maryam. Here's a woman giving birth and she's like, Ya Allah, it's so bad, right? Imagine if there's a khutbah about a woman giving birth. People would be like, this is weird. There's a whole like surah almost, whole chapter, a woman giving birth. She's like, Ya Allah, please, I want to die. It's so difficult. And Allah saying, it's okay. You're okay. The voice saying you'll be supported. So women's emotions count. It's not like, oh, she's just a woman, ignore her. That's not how the Quran speaks. That's not how the hadith speaks. So someone doesn't know what to do, ask his wives. Saying that Khadija, when the revelation first came, who supported the Prophet ﷺ? Right? Who supported the Prophet ﷺ? His wife. Well, you're not a man, you need to be supported by a woman. Make sense, inshallah? Very cool. Okay, bismillah.
No.
Assalamu alaikum, Dr. Sab. Things, mashallah. Man, this guy's too tall now. Mashallah. Alhamdulillah. You should become short out of adab for your dad. Alhamdulillah. Mashallah. Alhamdulillah, how's things? That's good.
How are you?
Good. Alhamdulillah. We're in the middle of the class is being recorded, so I need to. Inshallah. Alhamdulillah. Abdullah Mikola? Go find Uncle Khalid, okay? Okay, so because we got to stop soon because of Maghrib. Abdulrazaki, go and get Uncle Khalid. Okay, any other words here? Adabi, so attached pronoun, my punishment. So this is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says. Don't worry about anything else because my punishment, that's what you mean by punishment, right? Having your children cut to pieces in front of you 10 times. You're hearing them screaming as they're being punished and tortured in front of your eyes. That's nothing compared to 1 second of hellfire. That's nothing. So hellfire, the person in hellfire, as the Prophet said, what? He said he will have hot coals on his feet and it will burn so that his whole body is on boiling and his brain is boiling like a kettle. And he thinks this is as bad as it gets in hell. And that's the least of hell. 1 second of hell, like, oh man, that was a stupid decision. Why on earth did I do it? So people play this game. It's Allah, either Allah will forgive me or khalas, I'll be in hell for a bit. I can do that, right? I'll risk it, right? My manager, for example, I'm going to just insult my manager and I'll just get fired. I don't care. I'll do it. I'll take it. It's worth it. It's worth it. You made a calculation, right? Just divorce her. It's worth it. You made a calculation, right? Hellfire is like, that was the stupidest calculation you ever made. Ever. 1 second of hellfire, like, oh my God. Not worth it, right? Adabi huwa al-adhab al-alim. My punishment, that is the definition of a painful punishment. Don't forget anything else. Nothing else that you can ever imagine in your mind is a punishment. I mean, Allah protect us. Inni. So inna plus ana equals inni. Right? Indeed, I. Okay. Can I just... Yeah. Do you have to click it to stop?
No.
Okay.
Just, let me know when you are.
Okay. Shall I anything else there?
Minal? Or is it?
Minal, min is a preposition. Preposition. Inshallah. Shall we stop there? Inshallah ta'ala. Sallallahu ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi sallam. Subhanallah wa bihamdik. Ashhadu an la ilaha illa ant. Nastaghfiruka wa natubu.